بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Okay, so today I'm going to do the solution for Major Exam 02 Spring 2016, which is about the Facebook graph application. So in this major exam, we will build the Facebook graph application based on the graph interfaces that we developed in previous exam. Of course, in this major exam, it was built on previous ones, like for your case. Okay, so in previous exams, we have already worked on graph. I don't know whether we did some of these quizzes before, but anyway, the first thing that you need to start with in any kind of similar question is to understand the different interfaces and classes and the relationship between them. Okay, so let me go here to the packages which we have here. Okay, so consider the interfaces provided as the contract of your application, which include Edge Factory, iEdge, iGraph, iGraph Logger, iVertex, and so on. Okay, so here we have different interfaces that represent a graph. So basically, what is a graph? Okay, a graph is actually a set of vertices. A vertex is like a node, نقطة, okay, like this, for example, vertex V1 and vertex V2, and an edge, or it's okay, a link between the two vertices. Okay, so this is vertex 1, this is vertex 2, and this is an edge between both. Okay, so this is an abstract representation of a graph. And as you can see here, we have iVertex. So what is an iVertex? It has an ID. Okay, so for example, this is vertex with ID V1, and this is a vertex with ID V2. It has data, so data we can say it's a description or anything. Okay, and then we can get the ID, get the data, or make get and set method for the vertex. So this is what characterizes basically an interface vertex. And then we have also edge, iEdge. So what is an edge? It's basically a link between two vertices, between two nodes. So in every edge we will have source and target, or node 1 and node 2. So this is the abstraction that we have here. So we have get source, get target, set source, and set target. A source target defines a link, which we call an edge. Is it clear? Okay. So, and the graph is what? It's actually a set of vertices and a set of edges. So I can have a graph. So if I add مثلا some other vertices here, I can have different links. I don't know, for example, between this one and this one. I can have a link here between this one and this one. I can have a link between these two here. Okay, so I can call this V3, and I can call this V4. Okay, this one is 3 and this one is 4. So all of this is a graph. So I can say that a graph has several vertices. This is why we have get vertices is what? Is a set of V. Okay, and a set of edges, these different links between the vertices. Okay, so this is what we mean by, and then we can actually make get and set method. You can add a vertex into the graph, remove a vertex, and check the relationships and so on. Okay, so, and now the implementation of these interfaces will consider a particular application that is called Facebook graph. And Facebook, the social media that you are using, is actually kind of very similar. So when you create an account, you are like a vertex. And when you make some friends, so you create a connection with some other friends. Okay, so at the end, it's a set of users interconnected together. So it's a graph. Okay, and a lot of research, okay, they do actually analysis of Facebook graphs, so to understand how the relationship between the users, and they can extract a lot of information. And I think you have heard these days now Mark the founder of Facebook is now being investigated because the usage of data collected from Facebook and how I can use it, for example, in election and several other things. So you can see it's something really of great importance because data now is actually kind of like money, or maybe more expensive than money. So this is actually a way of how social media basically works. So we can see them as kind of vertices like users, and edges represent relationships. So that's why we're going to consider Facebook user as a vertex. So it's going to implement, the Facebook user graph is going to implement the interface vertex. And the relation between Facebook user is going to implement the interface edge. And the Facebook graph will be kind of a graph, implement the graph interface. So if we can see here, Facebook user implements iVertex, so it makes sense. Okay, and Facebook relation here, it implements edge, and it has source user and target user. Okay, we can call them user 1 and user 2, would be the same thing. Okay, and we have Facebook graph here, which implements the iGraph, and here a generic interface takes Facebook user and Facebook relation as ENV. Okay, so that's pretty much all, and now we are ready actually to start doing the different questions. So create the Facebook user or Facebook relation factory that creates a new friendship relation. So let's go here. We have Facebook relation factory. It's an empty class for the moment, and we have a set of things to do. First of all, it creates a new friendship relation. We come to this later. It implements H factory EV. So I'm going just to do implements H factory EV. Of course, if I have EV here, I need to define it here. Okay, this is the first thing I need to do. Okay, and then I need to import H factory, so it's now imported. And then it says where E, okay, this E is friendship relation, because E is edge, and edge is mapped to friendship relation, and V vertex is the Facebook user. Okay, so once I do that, I don't really even need to have E and V here. Why do you want them? So now if we are going to override, okay, if I make override here, I'm going to have Facebook, because look now, the edge factory, when it is defined, where it has one method, create. So basically the method that I provided to you, it was create source and target like this, without date. Okay, so let's try to look at this. So here it has E, here it has V. Now, inside this class, we have replaced E by friendship relation and V by Facebook user. Okay, that's why when we override, so this one, which was E, it becomes friendship relation, it's edge. And this one, which was V, it becomes Facebook user. Okay, so E and V here, I no longer need them because I have replaced them by classes. Okay, so no need to have this. Okay, so class Facebook graph. Okay, and here we're going to use create by replacing E by friendship relation and V by Facebook user. And we are using, we are not creating a generic class. We are using a generic interface. Okay, in the beginning, if I didn't specify this, in this case, you would have done it like this. Okay? And because I have specified that E is replaced by friendship relation, V is replaced by Facebook user, in this case, okay, I need to work in that way. Now,
So whenever I replace I replace it with class, I have to remove the E and V.
it's not you have. It depends now on what is requested. Okay, you can, if you want to put A and V, no problem. Nobody will tell you to remove them. But are you going to use them here?
No.
So why putting them? You see what I mean?
Yeah.
If you are going to use them inside the class, that's okay. If you are not going to use them inside the class because you have replaced them by some concrete classes or interfaces, in this case, no need to put them. Actually, any class you can put a generic, you can define a generic type. Now, if you don't use this generic type, it's something like you added something useless. If you use the generic type, it's useful. Okay, now in this case, okay, let's put it. I'm not going to remove it now. Okay, let's put it and then let's create this one. So here, when I override, so the method here, it just takes source and target. So I'm going just to override this one. It must return new. It will return friendship relation. صح ولا? No, yes, it will return friendship relation. And friendship relation, if we look at it, it has two constructors. One constructor that has two Facebook users, and one constructor that has two Facebook users and a date. So for the moment, we are going to use this one. Okay, so this is S, this is T. I'm going to use them here. This is source S, and this is target T. واضح لحد الآن؟ So it says here, in addition to overriding the method of the interface, this is what we have done. It has a method called create user1, user2, date with 3 parameters. So it has a method user1, user2, and date. واضح? So what we have to do here? Yes, we have here a constructor that takes also a date. So all I need to do here is just to add date. Okay, and now we are done with the factory relation, Facebook relation factory. Now let's come back to E and V. Okay, look at this yellow line, warning. Why this is warning? Okay, they are not used here. Okay, they are not used. So either you put them or you remove them, nothing will change because they are not used inside the class. So I will remove them. لأنه E and V were replaced by friendship relation and Facebook user.
Is it okay if I add the second method in the interface?
No. Here it says it has manual class this method. There is no need to add it in the interface. Okay. All you need to do is just to add it here. And in the constructor you have two constructors. You have two constructors. Like in the interface you have only one method create. Okay. And in the edge we don't have the concept of date. Like in the Facebook user relation we have the concept of date. So it's something additional. واضح? So we cannot put it in the contract because we cannot say that every edge should have a date. It's only the context of Facebook that we have the concept of date, but otherwise we don't. Okay, so this is this clear? Now,
How would you know that he doesn't want the date? Like, he didn't mention it, that the date is optional.
where?
The question.
I said in addition to overriding the method of the interface, which is this one. And this one has source, target, user1, user2. This is what we did here. We made create user1 and user2. So this method overrides the method of the interface. In addition to that, it has a method called create user1 user2 date. Okay, public user1 user2 and date. واضح? Okay, so this is how you must read the questions. You must read them carefully and respond accurately to the question. Okay, so now we are done with the first one. Now let's go to the second. Now in the class Facebook graph, we would like to add a new user in the users set. So look at this now. In the class Facebook graph, we have a set of users, set of Facebook user. This is why it's important to read the things that you need. Okay, users equal new hash set Facebook user. And we have all the relations stored together. Okay, and here we have type friendship relation. So the best thing is actually to make some kind of drawing. And this is now the set of users is like you have a set. It contains user 1, user 2, user 3, user 4, user 5. And everyone has a particular ID. Okay, this is the set of users. The set of relations, it's this one. Okay, and what is relation? It's set of friendship relation. So friendship relation here, it is characterized by source user, target user, and the date. So we can represent this one as follows. We can add the new date here. Okay, so we have relations. Relation 1, it has source user, target user, and the date of connection. Okay. So this is now, what do we have? This is how a graph is represented. واضح؟ فعندنا users and the relationship between the users. Okay, which actually defines and constitute the graph. Okay, that's fine. Now in the class Facebook user, we would like to add a new user in the users set Facebook user of the class Facebook. So I would like to make a method that will add a user here. For example, I will add user 6 with an ID 6 and some other parameters. Okay. So let's go to here. Question 1. What is question 2? Question 2 is here. Add the method add user. Okay, so I'm going to create the method add user like here. And what I will do, I will add the user into the users set. So I have users dot add. Look, users dot add, it will return a boolean. So this is what I want to return, because this boolean is going to be true if it is added in the set, and will return false if it is not added to the set. So I'm going to make return users.add. But what I have to add here, I have to create a new user. صح ولا لا? One option is to do new Facebook user and so on, but here it says we have to use Facebook user factory. So if I go here, I have Facebook user factory. It already creates a user for me. I will need to make, so here in Facebook graph, I already created an instance of Facebook user factory. It's already here. So I will just use it. I can do Facebook user factory dot, and then here I have create and data. Okay, so create here ID and name. So what is data here? If I go to Facebook user, data is particularly the name. So because it was inherited from vertex as data. So data here we mean it by the name. Okay, why there is an error here? Because dot add, look now, dot add, it waits here for a Facebook user. Okay, yes, and dot create, look, dot create, it returns an iVertex, which is a superclass of Facebook user. So we need to cast. Yes, all I need to do, I need to cast this iVertex to Facebook user. It's very simple, you see, one line of code. Only one line of code. Okay, and then add friend. So now we have added a user. The next question is to add friends. So look at the friends now. It means we're going to add a relation here. Okay, so a relation, for example, relation 7 will be constitute, for example, friend 1 and 4 مثلا. It's already there. And 2 مثلا. New date. So I need to have user 1 and user 2, and I will add a relation using what? Using the Facebook relation factory that we have created here. Okay, so going back to add friend, so we have two methods to consider. This one, so I need to do what? I need to add something in relations. Relations dot سويتوها هذه ولا حق relation؟ اليوزر سويتوها اليوزر؟
بس بدل ما اسوي already هي ممكن سويت if it is added return true. If it's not added.
For the set you don't need. لأنه set do not accept duplicate. So even you have added twice, it's going to be only one time. Okay? So relations is also a set. We're going to add a relation here. I can do a new relation, but we already created here. We have already Facebook relation factory. I will use it. Okay, Facebook relation factory dot. So here I have two options. I'm going to create with date or without date. So here I don't have a date. So I'm going to create without a date. I'm going to use this one, user 1, user 2, and that's all. Okay, just relations, and then I have to return, because relations.add is going either to return true or false, depending on whether it is added or not added. Yes?
When I added when I didn't add the date, it says I had to add the date. So I added the date.
It depends on how you do it. It depends on how you did that.
So I said new date.
Okay, if it requests you the date, but in principle it should not. Maybe there is something different. We don't need the cast here because create already return a relation. Okay, so we don't need to cast because it returns a relation. Now the second one is the same, but with some difference. So here, instead of having Facebook user, we will have ID1, and here we have int user ID 2. So basically, the expression is the same, but here we have a problem that it doesn't, we don't have user 1 and user 2, but we have their IDs. So here, if you can see, I have created a method that will take a user ID and will return a Facebook user from the set. So this method is very simple. Even if I didn't give this method, you can do it on yourself. It's simple. What it does, it makes an iterator, and then for every value in the user's set, it's going to compare the ID of the user with the parameter. If it is the same, it's going just to return and leave the set, leave the while loop. Okay, so here I can do get user ID, not here. So I can do get user, and I provide user ID 1. Okay, and here I can do get user, and I provide user ID. واضح? Okay. So you can see it's not very complicated.
So, what is exactly user ID one here?
It's the ID of the user one.
So,
لأنه the user, if you look at the Facebook user, is defined by an ID and a name. واضح? Okay. So from the ID, I can know which user corresponds to this ID because the ID is unique. Yeah.
get user. Okay.
Is it clear?
Yeah.
Who did that? Okay. So question number 4 now, which probably was the most challenging in this exam, is we need to get a map of France. Now in Facebook class, Facebook graph, we would like to get the map of France where the key is an integer that represents the user ID. And the value is of type France, which represent the France of the user specified by the key. أعطيت مثلا is going to be a map. So this is the user ID. 3 and 4, okay, are the users of 1, the friends of 1. For 2, it has friend 3. For 3, it has friends 1 and 2. So let's look at friends. Friends is a class. It is a class. And inside this class, we have a set of integer, where each integer, it represents a friend. Okay, so, and of course, the class friend, it allows you to add, it allows you to remove, and check whether it contains an existing user ID. Okay, so we're going to use this one now but let's try to understand what is requested. So this is what we have. We have a set of users and we have a set of relations. And our now objective is to generate a map, friend map. So what does it have, this friend map? It has key and it has a value. So the key here is an integer that represents a user, مثلا الآن user 1, okay? And here the value is actually a friend object, a friend object, okay, that contains a set, okay? And this set, for example, here it has 3 and 4. So this is what we want to produce. Now if we look at the relation table, it's sufficient. We can extract all the information that we need. There are several ways to do it, but what we can do, this is the algorithm I'm going to follow. I'm going to take the relation one by one. واضح؟ مثلا so I'm going to make a for loop for every relation in relations. What I will do? Okay, I will first of all, okay, get the source. مثلا the key is equal to the source. واضح؟
Which is the first user.
نعم. وبعدين نسوي map dot put الكي اللي هي source. Okay, source dot id الكي, and the value here, the value will be a friend object that contains, for example, I will add 3 to it. لما نروح للسطر الثاني, I'm going to make another put. Okay, لما نسوي البوت مرة ثانية, so here friend target target.id. ونفس الشيء I'm going to do it map dot put target.id. I will make a friend object source.id لأنه if source is a friend of target, target is also a friend of source. هذا واضح أو لا؟ قلنا for every relation نمسك السورس هذا الكي. So key is equal to 1. واضح ولا؟ key is equal to 1. Okay, so I will do map dot put 1 وهوني I will create a new friend object and I will put 3. I will do also map dot put 3 and I will create a new friend object where I put 1. Okay, so this is what I mean. Key is equal source.id is equal to 1. Map dot put 1 friend 3 ثم نسوي العكس. This is one of the ways. واضح ولا؟ Okay, so I'm going to put inside. Of course, here I have to check. If I do it for the first time, I need to create a new friend object. If I do it for the second time, I need to get the old friend object and I will add a new user to it. واضح? So it's not every time I'm going to create a new, because if you create a new, you will always have only one friend. But I'm going to extract the previous one مثل ما سوينا في الword count. If it is for the first time, we add 1 as a value. If it is for the second time, we get the previous count and then we increase by 1. So it's basically the same thing. Did you understand this algorithm now? Okay, so I'm going just to implement it. Okay, so let's do it. First of all, we're going now to create a map of friends. Okay, so let's create this map. So we will have a map here. Friend map equal. We didn't specify what kind of map I'm going to use. A tree map here of integer and friend. So basically it's now like this. What is wrong? Friends. Okay. Now.
It is written here that the value should be string.
Where?
First one.
There is no string here. Okay. So what we are going to do, we're going to make a for loop. Okay. There is no string. We have integer and friends. No, yeah, this one I just remove it. Come back. Okay, so for what? For every relation, for every friendship relation. لأنه what is relations? Relations here is a set of friendship relations. Okay, so for every friendship relation, I'm going to call it relation. Inside relations, okay, let's do it. If so I'm going to do what? Let's take the key. So integer is the key. Key is what? Is relation dot get source dot get ID. صح ولا؟ Okay, what is the value? So the value is friends. Let me call it friends. Equal. So if it is for the first time, I'm going to make a new friends. واضح? Then I will do friends dot add. Add what? Target. Okay. I'm going to add the target ID. Okay. So I'm going to do here friend dot. I can also make here integer friend equal relation dot get target dot get ID. Okay, so I'm going to add the key, I'm going to add the friend here, and then I will add in the map friend map dot put key and friends. So this is actually correct when if friend dot map dot contains key. So I will put the key here outside. Okay, if it doesn't contain this one, if it does not contain, I'm going to do that. واضح؟ Else if it contains, okay, ما عادش نسوي الآن equal new friends. Okay, what I have to do, I will take from friend map dot get from the key, I will get the old list of friends, and then I will add the new friend, and then we'll add, I put that in the map again. واضح ولا لا؟ هذا نفس هذا فاهم ولا مش فاهم؟ Did you understand this?
source منين get ID.
ما الريليشن ايش فيها الآن؟ relation it has. So this is the relations, right? It has source and target.
And the current بين key source key target and value.
نعم. Okay. So the key is equal source.id. So this is the key. I'm going to add this one as a friend of one. واضح ولا لا؟ Okay. So what I did for source and target, I need to add it in the other way around. Okay. So I'm going to make for just a moment. This if statement now تصبح الآن source هي target. Okay. Everything source becomes target, and everything target it becomes source. So here it becomes source, and here it becomes source. Okay, this is what I have said here. We're going to make map.put target.id friend source ID. Okay, so this is the end of the lecture. Now, at least this is a little bit challenging, but you know, you just need to understand the concepts and the different data structures and how to add them. So I think now it becomes clearer. واضح? Okay, that's fine. I'm going to